morning wood is for years been your sign that everything is okay, right? Everything's going good. So you've gotten to the point where maybe your morning wood isn't quite like it used to be. Maybe you're still getting nighttime or nocturnal erections, or maybe not. But let's talk about what that means when the morning wood isn't quite as stiff and chopped as right as it normally is, right? So when we have a morning erection, what's happening is we're having a surge of testosterone, right? So testosterone surges throughout the night, which is why we have to get great sleep. But also, on the same token, as that happens, your body uses the nitric oxide that it creates to have a nocturnal erection, and it'll come and it'll go. Now, over time, as those nocturnal erections start to decrease in number, because they will, what happens then is your erection, which is normally used to getting all this great exercise at night, isn't getting as much exercise as it could or it should be, right? So this is a good time even to bring in the smoothie recipes. So when we're talking about the smoothie recipes, what the smoothie recipes help us do is help us beat the inflammation and help us boost the nitric oxide that our body can be making to make better, harder, stronger erections. But what the smoothies can't do, what supplements can't do, what nothing can do other than you, is to help rehabilitate the tissue that has actually over time started to become what we call necrotic, or kind of like loses its elasticity and is not as responsive. So we've got the tissue that happens to, but we also have the blood vessels that happens to. So the process becomes about the contents of the smoothies. The reason that they work in some people so quickly and over time is because they're boosting nitric oxide levels. They're helping reduce inflammation in the body globally. And when inflammation is decreased throughout the whole body, our blood vessels start to repair themselves, because over time, oxidative damage, aging, toxins, and all of that help make our blood vessels not as good as they were before. And for some guys, the blood flow issue starts to become down there because maybe they're riding their motorcycles, or they're riding their bicycles, or maybe they're smoking cigarettes, or maybe they're doing something regularly that's damaging to the blood vessels and blood flow down there, but maybe even something that's damaging to the blood vessels all over your body. That can be diabetes, that can be hypertension, smoking cigarettes, environmental toxins, drinking too much alcohol, having too much weight. When we have too much weight and too many fat cells that are there, what happens is the inflammation levels go up, but also we hang on too much to estrogen. Estrogen is a woman's hormone, and guys need some estrogen, but you don't need a ton of it. So if you have a ton of estrogen that's not getting properly metabolized in your body, and what it actually does is, even if your testosterone levels are high, it actually counteracts and disrupts what your testosterone levels could be doing. So one thing you've got to make sure of when it comes to morning wood: am I getting enough sleep? Am I giving my body enough time overnight to make testosterone? If I know I'm not making enough testosterone, what can I do to boost testosterone? This is where the bundles come in handy. We've got great supplements, great nutraceuticals, great food items that have been clinically proven to help boost testosterone levels. Am I moving enough? Am I getting enough exercise that's causing my body to actually not only have testosterone, but be able to use testosterone, right? Because the only type of usable form of testosterone is going to be the one that's free. What can I do to free more testosterone? So when you start to see that your morning erections aren't doing what they used to do, you kind of want to backtrack through the process and figure out what could be being disrupted in this process. Is it my nitric oxide levels? Am I getting enough? Do I think I'm getting enough nitric oxide? The good thing about nitric oxide levels is you can actually test them. Nitric oxide levels, what we do to kind of test them is we're actually measuring the amount of nitrites and nitrates that we find in the saliva. And there's blood tests that can do it, there's saliva tests that can do it, but the popular ones, the ones that are accessible and not super expensive, are going to be the saliva test. Because remember, 50% of the nitrates are going to be stored in the saliva. That's why we don't want to over cleanse and disrupt the mouth. because the saliva is an important part of this whole process. I mean, listen, isn't it amazing to think that what's going on in your mouth impacts what's going on down south? I mean, it's such an amazing concept. And if you can wrap your brain around that, then you can wrap your brain around the fact that it is all so connected that you can't ignore any part of it.